Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the GSMC Golf Podcast presented by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Garrison McDaniel, coming at you from a little bit different venue than I usually do, as I am back home for the weekend. So for the next two podcasts, you will be seeing this background opposed to my normal one. However, we still have a great podcast for you guys today, still doing all my due diligence through the fun that I will be having this weekend as well. So our first segment of the night, I'm getting right into talking about TPC River Highlands, and it is hosting this 8th and final signature event. We're going to be talking about that, looking at the course, giving that little bit of a breakdown as we always do, how the course plays. Next, we'll be getting into Thursday's leaderboard, how players played on Thursday and who jumped out to the leads and how they were able to do so. Next, we're going to get into the third segment of the night, talking about the top storylines from the Travelers Championship. Our fourth segment of the night, we'll be talking about Charlie Woods. He won his first USGA event. Very impressive, finishing 1 under, leading the field in that one. We'll be talking about him. And then our fifth and final segment of the night, we will be wrapping things up by giving my picks and predictions for the Travelers Championship. But as always, before we get into all of that, if you guys would like to support the podcast even more than you already do, use the tips and donations link at gsmcpodcast.net. You can also ask me questions, a little bit more interactive with the audience through that. It is a great way for you to support the channel as well. But as we get into this, let's start with our first segment of the night, talking about the course overview for TPC River Highlands. As we always do, you guys have a little bit of it's not outdated, but you have in front of you the whole sheets from, I would say this is from halfway through today. I do have the full finishing field, how the entire field finished on the day. So going into hole number 1, it played about a tenth of a stroke over par. It played as one of the more difficult holes on the golf course, actually the second most difficult hole on the golf course. A tenth of a stroke over par, playing as the second most difficult hole on the golf course. This is the first indication that this is a way easier golf course and tournament than we normally have. Our second hole, or actually first going through hole 1, Hole 1 is of course, par 4. That's kind of just straightaway. It does play a little bit easier, but it has a little bit more difficult green around it that you have to navigate. Guys can just fly their driver 310, 320. It'll put them in a really great spot to be 100 out from the pin, and then that is an easy shot for most of these tour pros that practice it so often. Next, for the second hole, you have a short par 4, 348. This is the 6th most difficult hole on the golf course. However, it just barely plays over par, pretty much playing even par. A lot of guys were able to kind of fly the green in 2 here, and maybe some of the long drivers on tour will be able to challenge that front part of the green, as it is a long green, and today we had the back pin position, so maybe with a front pin, we could be seeing a lot more difficult shots, a lot more eagles here on hole number 2, making it a little bit more easier. It has a little bit easier of a green as well, a little L-shaped green with the pin today in the back left, but a lot of guys electing to just go with a 5-wood, maybe a 7-wood, maybe a 3-iron, 4-iron on this hole, fly it about 250, 240 off of the tee, and then you have 100 yards to the pin. If you do that, makes it a little bit easier for these guys. Next, on hole 3 is the first really birdie opportunity. This hole played 2/10 of a stroke under par today. 415-yard par 4. What makes it a lot easier than the first par 4 as well? Around the green is very, very easy. The green is big on this hole. There's no bunkers. The rough is easy to play out of, and it is an easy second shot in. So a lot of guys gave themselves a chance at firing at the pin in 2 here, and were able to get a birdie putt on this a little bit shorter par 4, 415 this one plays at. Next is a 481-yard par 4. This is the 3rd hardest hole on the golf course. It played 7 hundredths of a stroke over par. So once again, these holes not really playing too difficult, but the front 9 is a lot more difficult than the back 9. We'll be talking about how easy the back 9 really was today in a little bit later in this segment. But This one playing a little bit over par, third hardest hole on the golf course, followed by the fourth hardest hole, a long par 3, 222-yard par 3 is that. It's kind of a simple par 3. If you fly the bunkers on the front side of the green, you're in a really good opportunity to get to a birdie with that one. You just need to make your putts on the green. 2 putts will kill guys this weekend. It's going to be one really with the iron shots onto the green and then the putter on the green. So looking at Scotty Scheffler to take this one down. This course really seems like it's right up Scotty's alley. Maybe a Ricky Fowler could get a win here. It was Keegan Bradley who won at the Travelers Championship last year, and of course his play could absolutely show up here as well. Next is our first par 5 of the day. This one playing 3/10 of a stroke under par. This is the second easiest hole on the golf course, and for this golf course, that is really saying something, as it is a very easy golf course. We saw 2 eagles on this hole today. It's a 572 par 5 that, guys, just you're able to bomb it on this fairway. It's kind of a long wide fairway and very long. There is a bunker I would say that's probably about 400 yards down. So you don't really have to worry about that. And then there's fairway bunkers and greenside bunkers kind of all over the place. But I think guys, as we saw today, can be very aggressive on this hole and really get their scores going in the right direction from that. Next is a 456 par 4. That is the, dead even 9th easiest / hardest hole on the golf course. We saw more birdies on it than bogeys on it today. It played about 3/100th of a stroke under par. For this little bit longer par 4, it's a very simple one. 300 into the fairway, 150 onto the green. Guys are able to play well, or able to kind of be within their comfort zone on this course and on this hole especially. So we saw a lot of guys be able to take advantage of that par 4. Tom Kim wasn't able to. I'm looking at Tom Kim's scorecard to look at how these guys are playing it, because he does have a great driver that is accurate, going 300 yards pretty much every time, and then he makes the right decision. So I'm looking at kind of the right decision, and Tom Kim elected to go driver, able to bomb it, and then he does 2-putt, and that's kind of what I'm seeing from Tom Kim, but of course we'll talk about that in the next segment here. Next, a par 3 8th, 208 yards. This is a fairly easy one. You just have to fly that lake, but you do have a little bit of room between the lake and the green. That is a little bit of the fringe area. I would say you have about 10 yards of fringe to work with before you get to the lake. So it would be very difficult for these guys to end up in the lake. I would be interested to see how many guys do on that par 3 8th. The par 4 9th is 382 yards. The tied for the 4th hardest hole on the golf course today. They're able to. It's a dogleg right. If you're able to be a little bit risky, maybe you could find a way to go. Maybe not. It's going to be interesting to see how guys play this hole, the par 4 9th, because I think you could fly that fairway bunker on that right side and get a easier 90, 80 yards to the hole shot from the fairway. But what Tom Kim elected to do was take probably 5 wood, that's 263 that he drove, ended right in the middle, takes it right, and is able to get up and down for the par. And then 10th hole, straight away here, par 4, 451. This one's going to be one of the easier holes on the golf course, number 10. A very great birdie opportunity there. Next is a 160-yard par 3, a shorter par 3 than what we're really used to. You have a huge fairway bunker. On the kind of right side of this green, or fairway green side bunker on the right side of this green. That's around 140, 145. But if you're able to sail that, you are in great shot and great opportunity on that 11th. Next is the par 4 12th. Par 4 12th plays 389, a shorter par 4. This is the 8th hardest hole on the golf course. This one played exactly even to par today. 16 with 16 birdies and only 8 bogeys. However, 3 guys doubled on this hole, which I would assume a lot of those guys ended up in the fairway bunker on the right side here, just kind of missed their driver from where they were aiming it, and that's how you end up there. Next, from that par 4 12th is a par 5 13th. This is the easiest hole on the golf course. Par 5 13th that plays 536. I know a lot of guys had looks at eagles on this one. You just need to fly the river on the right side of the fairway. You only need about 270 to fly that river, however, and then you're in great shape to go 250 to the hole, or maybe even 220 to the hole if you really bomb that driver. And then that puts you in a great opportunity to get an eagle putt in on this par 5 13th. And we saw 6 eagles today, probably one of the largest amount of eagles I've seen on a hole all season long. After that par 5 13th, you have a par 4 404 on the 14th. It's the 13th easiest, or 13th hardest. It's the 6th easiest hole on the golf course. You saw 1 eagle on that one today. It was a hole out from the fairway. But 404 yards, it is kind of right up these guys' alleyway. It's a little bit to the left, but not too much. It's also a huge fairway. A lot of these fairways are massive that these guys are playing on. The 15th hole, 276, par 4. This one has been one of the more interesting one, this 15th hole. I would expect a lot more eagles on this one than we saw. It's the 16th easiest. We saw 26 birdies on this hole today. By far the hole with the most birdies on it. But I think that people have been getting kind of caught up trying to go up and down a little bit too much and then two putting on this green. That's a little bit more volatile than the rest. But this is a very easy one. I expect to see a lot more eagles than the one we saw on it today. The par 4 or we didn't see any on the par 4 15th that plays 276. I expect a lot more. Next, 157 par 3 for 16th. You just need to fly the lake. The lake makes up the entirety of this. This is just a typical tee shot on a par 3 with the water. And then 17 and 18 are 2 par 4s that play pretty easy. You have on 17, you do have to fly a lake with your second shot. That makes it a little bit nervy. And then the par 4 18th, it's just a straightaway. Just end up in fairways on this course, and you're in for a great tournament and in great shape. On this course, something that really stands out to me is, of course, the iron shots heading in and the wood shots heading in on these par 5s. You could really take advantage of this golf course. You could get a lot of low scores. We saw a 62 today. I expect us to maybe even see a 61 or 60 throughout this weekend. It is one of the easier, it's probably the easiest signature event course. And I think that they did do some renovations on it, but it doesn't seem to have made it more difficult. We'll talk about that in the third segment. But yeah, that's the little quick course overview, how each hole plays on this 8th and final signature event of the year, the Travelers Championship in Connecticut. When I come back from our first break of the night, we will be talking about Thursday's leaderboard from the Travelers Championship and how it all shaped out and who looks to be the contenders so far. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits, some losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip, you choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Welcome back to the GSMC Golf Podcast presented by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Garrison McDaniel, and we're getting into the second segment of tonight, talking about Thursday's leaderboard from the Travelers Championship. And, of course, Tom Kim got off to a fantastic start, finishing 8 under, 2 strokes in the lead from anybody else going into the second round on Friday. For Tom Kim, it's a fantastic round. But Akshay Bhatia is the one I want to talk about a little bit more. This guy is having a fantastic season. He turned pro in 2019, very young when he turned pro. He was 17 when he turned pro, 18 when he turned pro. He's now 22 years old, has 2 career wins at the Barracuda Championship in 2023, and he won the Valley Road Texas Open this year. He won the Valley Road Texas Open this year at 20 under. He is 24th in the FedEx Cup rankings. Akshay Bhatia has had a fantastic recent surge too. Tied for 16th at the U.S. Open, tied for 22nd at the Memorial Tournament. He had stints at kind of top of the leaderboard in both those tournaments as well. Akshay Bhatia is 22 years old and is playing some great golf, especially at the signature events and majors. As I mentioned, his U.S. Open and Memorial Tournament. Now he's second, 6 under today, opening round 64. This guy is playing some fantastic golf, and he's 22 years old. I'm excited to see what the future holds for Akshay Bhatia. Was able to get an eagle on 13 after a fantastic second shot that flew 231 that landed right on the green. And it's a bogey-free card as well. That is something you love to see if you are such a young guy like Akshay Bhatia. Another guy, Ricky Fowler, who has had some tough stints throughout his career, and especially throughout the last few seasons and this year. He is tied for second with Akshay Bhatia and a couple of others. He is right now 111th in the FedEx Cup standings, so far away from these top guys. But this could be a great opportunity in a signature event to kind of put his name back up in the rankings and in the standings. For Ricky Fowler, he definitely needs this one more than most here, especially if he wants to play in that FedEx Cup Championship, St. Jude FedEx Cup Championship later in this season. So he's one that I'm going to be monitoring. He finished 6 under. His scorecard looked very clean. 6 birdies, 0 bogeys is what you love to see, especially on a course like this where it is a little bit easier and you can avoid bogeys a little bit better than on, let's say a major course. Next, Kurt Kitayama also finished 6 under, tied for second. He had 7 birdies on the day with 1 bogey, dropping only 1 shot on the par 4 fifth. That is the third hardest hole on the golf course. Kurt Kitayama is playing some good golf. Will Zalatoris rounds out the guys at 6 under, tied for second. Opening round 64 for Will is very impressive. 8 birdies on this round and 2 bogeys. A little volatile scorecard, but still finishing 6 under. So impressive. Played fantastic, did Will Zalatoris. Taylor Pendrith starts the 5 under crowd. Tied for 6th at 5 under crowd. It's Taylor Pendrith, Mackenzie Hughes, Patrick Rogers, Scotty Scheffler, Cam Davis, Tony Finau, and Xander Schauffele, who make up that 5 under crowd. All of these names are definitely able to make some noise as well as any of the names I mentioned previous. He did drop a stroke at the par 5 6th hole, which is unlike him. He had a bad third shot that ended up in a fairway bunker. It looked like he just thinned the shot and it just kind of rolled on him, and he just kind of misplayed it, ends up with the bogey because of it on a par 5 fifth that he probably could have birdied otherwise. He also ended up in the rough off of the tee there. That didn't help him with his second shot going in. He had a layup as well. But an eagle on 13, one of the many guys that did eagle 13, him and Akshay Bhatia, of those that at the top of the leaderboard that were able to do that. 283 tee shot, 256 to the pin on the second shot, and then was able to sink the putt for 3. Was able to really put it, right next to the pin from 250 out. That was a very impressive shot, and the clip is kind of going all over the place if you haven't seen so. Other guys to mention, Wyndham Clark at 4 under. You have Colin Morikawa at 4 under. Sam Burns. Corey Connors, 3 under. You have Ludwig Eberg at 3 under. He finished with a 67 after 3 birdies. bogey-free card. We talk about how great bogey-free cards are, especially on a Thursday, getting you off right to the weekend. After a little bit of a meltdown at the U.S. Open, Ludwig Oberg is one of the names that I'm really looking at in terms of guys that I expect to kind of put their name or put their hat in the ring for this Travelers Championship. And for Ludwig Oberg, he is playing fantastic golf. Of course, was at the top of the U.S. Open standings for the first 2 days after a poor weekend from him. Always one guy to look out for. It's so exciting whenever he is playing golf. So a bogey-free card gets him off right. And that kind of wraps up for the top of this leaderboard. You also have Justin Thomas, Victor Hovland, Patrick Cantlay, Sahith Theegala kind of trailing behind Keegan Bradley on his title defense at 1 under 69 today. But at the bottom of the leaderboard, you have Adam Schenk at 4 over, Matt Fitzpatrick at 4 over, Adam Scott at 4 over, Billy Horschel, Michael Thorstensen, who is having his PGA Tour debut, finishing tied 61, 2 over. We'll see if he can turn it around going into the weekend. He is somebody we will be talking about in that in the third segment of tonight. You also have guys like Chris Kirk, Adam Svensson, Jason Day, Davis Riley, Lucas Glover, all finishing 1 over today. So the leaderboard looks kind of all over the place. A lot of guys putting themselves in contention. The guys that I would really say are in contention today, or in contention in this weekend. Of course, you have Tom Kim. Of course, you have Scotty Scheffler, Xander Schauffele, Ludwig Oberg, Ricky Fowler, Akshay Bhatia, Kurt Kitayama, Will Zalatoris. Another name I really want to talk about is Will Zalatoris, who having a injury-riddled career and injury-riddled season. The 27-year-old turned pro in 2018. That's crazy. He turned pro in 2018. Akshay Bhatia turned pro in 2019. Akshay Bhatia is 22. That is insane. Anyways, I got sidetracked there. Will Zalatoris, who only has won one event on tour, but has always been a guy that I really expect to play fantastic. Has had an injury-riddled year this year and last year, only playing in 8 events last year, but has been at the top of the leaderboard in the events that he has played healthy. Tied for 2nd at the Genesis, tied for 4th at the Arnold Palmer, tied for 9th at the Masters. As of late, it's been pretty rough. Cut at the U.S. Open, tied 41 at the Memorial, tied 43 at the PGA Championship, tied 60 at the Wells Fargo. For a guy like Will Zalatoris, who really has, first off, a lot of potential in golf, and we haven't seen him come to fruition because of his injury-riddled kind of prime that he's had the last 3 years, having back problems. Hopefully we see this guy kind of come back to the height of professional golf. He's a guy that I always love seeing at the top of the leaderboard, playing some good golf, because he has a fantastic swing, has a fantastic game. It's very exciting when we do see him get going. So I want Will Zalatoris to be at that top of the leaderboard, and he has put his name or his hat in the ring for the Travelers Championship tied for 2nd after the 18th hole. We'll see how he plays on Friday. I think that will be very telling moving forward. You also have guys like Scotty Scheffler, who is looking to bounce back from a poor U.S. Open, but this would be his 4th signature event of the year if he were able to win this, getting into some elite company if he were to be able to win this one. So a guy that, of course, we're all looking out for. He is the favorite going into Friday, and for good reason. Xander Schauffele, another guy that has kind of separated himself from the rest here. Of course, no Rory McIlroy in this field. Gives way to some of those 4 through 10 golfers in the official World Golf Ranking, whether that's Victor Hovland, Ludwig Oberg, guys like Patrick Cantlay, guys like Wyndham Clark, all guys that can step up to kind of show that they belong in these, top 4, top 5, and it's not a top 3 in golf conversations. So looking forward to the rest of this Travelers Championship. Of course, we have storylines now to go over. That will be our third segment of the night. I'm excited to talk about the top storylines for the Travelers Championship after I come back from my second break.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. Just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.
Welcome back to the GSMC Golf Podcast presented by the GSMC Sports Network. We're getting right into this third segment of the night. The top storylines for the Travelers Championship. We have the 8th and final signature event of this year. The 8th chance for these guys to really raise up in the... Sorry, I had a straight little bit of hair that's just randomly stuck up. But for the Travelers Championship, this is the 8th and final signature event of the year. The 8th chance for these guys to get a crack at that $20 million purse. This is annoying me. No, it's annoying some of you guys. There we go. I fixed it. 8th chance for these guys to get that 700 FedEx Cup points up for grabs as well. For the Travelers Championship, one of the biggest storylines, and we have to talk about it. Scotty Scheffler. He is going for signature event 4 on the year, as he won the Memorial, as he won at the Memorial, he won at the Arnold Palmer, he won at the Century. Is that another one that he was able to get a win at? I'm just going to look at his season because I don't want to give you guys false information, hopefully. But for Scotty Scheffler, he has won at the Memorial, I know for sure. I know he's won at the Arnold Palmer. He also has won at the RBC Heritage. That's the other one that he won at. He also won at the Players Championship that I always get confused that's not a signature event. It just seems like it should be a signature event. But has won 3 out of 7 so far, which is very impressive. He's going for number 4, which is only joined by likes of absolute, the height of professional golf. Very difficult to win half of the signature events in a year. I believe that Tiger Woods is the last one to do it, the only one in many, many years to have done so. I tried to look up players with 4 signature events in a single season, but I didn't find anything on Google. I do know Tiger Woods has done it, so of course the only thing that came up was the Tiger Slam. So I will try to do a little bit more research onto that, but I do think that Tiger Woods has done it. I would be shocked if Jack Nicklaus never did it. I'd be shocked if Gary Player never did it. I'd be shocked if a guy like Vijay Singh or Phil Mickelson didn't do it either. So I will look more into that because I am very interested to see if more guys have done that, which it seems like a very difficult feat. 4 signature events out of 8 in a year. It's hard to win 4 times on tour, period, in a year, let alone in the events that have all of the top 60 golfers in the world in them. Of course, this is not having live golfers, so you can't say all of the top 60 anymore, but once upon a time there was. Before this Travelers Championship, another big storyline, which does also revolve around Scotty, is Ted Scott. Scotty's caddy for this entire season, caddied for Bubba Watson when he won 3 Travelers Championships in the mid-2010s. That's an interesting thing to keep note of. Ted Scott knows what it takes to win in Connecticut, so very, very interested to see kind of the help that Ted Scott is able to bring to Scotty Scheffler. As get a comment from Destroyers Baseball. Keep up the good work. Very much appreciated. Any words of affirmation is very much appreciated. Thank you so much. But going on from that, Scotty Scheffler's caddy, they do make a lot of difference. Caddies do talk to these players a lot, make influential decisions as it comes to these guys. As it comes to guys, just making shots, making everyday shots. What iron to use, maybe if you want to lay up here instead, kind of helping out with these decisions. Of course, reading greens is another big part of a caddy's job. So Ted Scott knows what it takes to win in Connecticut. We'll see if he's able to help out Scotty Scheffler. As Scotty Scheffler, he might just not need it. He is the official world golf number 1 by far, and deservedly so. He is the best golfer in the world by a large margin. So it'll be interesting to see how he plays throughout this weekend. Of course, already having a fantastic start to this one. This was also a very easy golf course last year. It had a lot of records set for ways that you don't want set if you're a golf course. You don't want it to be this easy for these guys, but with the advanced drivers and the advanced irons, these guys were able to kind of make a fool of the golf course a little bit. And they did do a little bit of renovations for it, adding a little more volatile rough, making the fairways a little bit smaller, but it still looks like it will be an easy one for these guys. The winning score will definitely be in the 20s with a lot of guys. There's only a few guys that shot over par today, and expected and expectingly so for all of these guys to kind of get weaned out, you can say. I believe the cut line would be around 1. It would be at 1 over if it ended today. I would expect that would probably stay, as it's only 9 guys that have that 1 over score at tied for 53rd, and then beyond that is tied for 61 at 2 over. I think a lot of guys will be able to. I think the cut could maybe even move up to maybe even. There was only one guy last year that made the cut with a green score at 1 over. So for this year, I can kind of expect the same. It does look like it's an easier golf course. There's a 260 par 4 in this golf course. Granted, it does play very much. It is a lot more difficult, but I do still expect a lot of guys to be able to get an eagle on that, or shoot a 2 on that one. So I will be very interested to see how this golf course plays, moving forward and going throughout this weekend. See where the cut line is tomorrow, and see how these guys are stacking up on the leaderboard moving forward. Another big storyline, Michael Thorbjornsen. I hope I said that correctly. Thorbjornsen, Michael Thorbjornsen. I think that's how I'm going to go with. He shot 2 over today, but a bigger story, he is making his PGA Tour debut in this Travelers Championship. He got a scorecard. He was the PGA Tour University number 1 player. He was from Stanford, played very well in Stanford. He did make his PGA Tour debut here in 2022 as an amateur, but this is his professional debut. He has his tour card. He's able to play in these events. He has his tour card through the year 2025, if I'm not mistaken. And it is a great event for him to start his career at. Hopefully he is able to make the cut, as he is pretty much right on that cut line right now. But for Michael Thorbjornsen, he is a fantastic golfer with a lot of potential ahead of him. So we will see how he plays on Friday, and if he is able to play into the weekend on his first official professional golf weekend. He finished, I think, like 10 under in this tournament back in 2022. So it'll be interesting if he can repeat that success. Of course, he didn't get the money that he was owed because he was an amateur playing in the event. Other news in golf that aren't really related to the Travelers Championship. Well, I guess it is, because the Travelers Championship is the signature event. But earlier this week, Tiger Woods has gotten a lifetime exemption into all signature events. That's special. He got a lifetime exemption. It was a sponsorship exemption, I think is what it was officially ruled as. Basically, the ruling and in the press release legitimately said for all of his lifetime achievements, he has earned this. Meaning, the greatest golfer in the world deserves to play golf no matter how he looks when he's playing. I don't know if I agree or disagree with this. The discourse of this is very, Tiger Woods isn't really going to be competing at the highest level, so okay, that's fair. Sure, let him play. He is getting these exemptions left and right, though, as there's been talk for many years about him getting a golf cart exemption, which a lot of people expect to happen eventually. He will eventually play on the PGA Champions Tour, where they all get golf carts. So it's been well documented that he has been waiting to play on that tour to use a golf cart in a professional capacity. But a lot of people are kind of edging him on to use a golf cart. And if he were able to play in these signature events with a mix of being able to use a golf cart, it could look a lot different for Tiger Woods, not having that stress of the back of walking these courses. That walking 72 holes is not easy over 4 days. Of course, they're playing golf. It isn't the hardest sport in the world. However, for these guys, hopefully they are able to... hopefully for Tiger Woods, he's able to compete at a high level for a couple of these signature events, as he is the king of these signature events and these other PGA Tour events, as well as he's a fantastic major player, winning 15 of them. But winning 82 total times on tour, so impressive for Tiger Woods, and he is getting a lifetime exemption into signature events moving forward. I am kind of excited about that. I love watching Tiger Woods play golf. It is fun to talk about. He is a fantastic golfer overall. So moving forward, I can't wait to see how that looks. But that'll wrap it up for our top storylines around golf and for the Travelers Championship. When I come back from our third segment, or from our third break, we'll be talking about Charlie Woods, another Wood, who is in the news this week, winning at the USGA event.
For the best and latest podcasts available anywhere, go to the podcast app on your cell phone and type in GSMC to access free content-rich podcasts on health and wellness, book reviews, sports, entertainment, relationships, social media, movies, technology, finance, and even weird news. Subscribe and download the GSMC Podcast Network's family of shows, available everywhere podcasts are found.
Welcome back to the GSMC Golf Podcast presented by the GSMC Sports Network. We just got done talking about the top storylines from the Travelers Championship. Moving on now, we have Charlie Woods to talk about, another Wood in the headlines this weekend. Last week, Charlie Woods, helped coach his father in the 124th U.S. Open, and now this weekend he is able to qualify for a very prestigious USGA event. It is fantastic what Charlie Woods has been able to do in his career and able to kind of separate. It's going to be very difficult, and this will be a discussion we'll have later after I do give the news here, but it is going to be very difficult for him to separate himself from his father, but of course we will talk about that a little bit later. Charlie Woods will compete in his first U.S. Junior Amateur event after he shot 1 under for 18 holes at a qualifier at the Eagle Trace Golf Club in Florida. Charlie Woods was 3 over through 2 holes, but he was able to make his way back and was able to finish 1 under on the day. He opened his score bogey, double bogey, and was a little bit scared. He said in an interview after the round, there it is. I didn't play great my first 2 holes, but I played really good for the last 16. I just told myself not to make any more bogeys or doubles, and I took advantage of some nice birdie looks when I had them. Putting was my biggest strength today. I made a lot of putts when I needed to, sounding like his father. Charlie Woods is still just 15 years old, being able to qualify for the USGA Junior Amateur. You have the USGA Junior Amateur, USGA Amateur, and then US Open. So if you win the US Junior Amateur, you qualify for the US Amateur, and then you win the US Amateur or top 5 in the US Amateur, you go all the way up to the US Open. So you do have to climb the ladder to get there, but Charlie Woods is doing so at 15 years young. His father's son, man. Athleticism is a very genetic thing. We see it time and time again how legends of sports, are able to have sons that play very well. Most top of mind to me right now, you got Bronny James and LeBron James, of course. Bronny James looking to be a NBA draft pick in this summer. But another name, TJ Ginla, Jerome McGinley's son, whose name is in the 2024 NHL draft, could be a top 10 pick. And for Jerome McGinley's son, that is very impressive. And of course, you have to separate yourself from your father, and that's very difficult to do. But these guys are definitely able to do it. You also have a bunch of guys throughout football who are able to. You have Marvin Harrison Jr., who is Marvin Harrison, a Hall of Fame wide receiver. Maybe even better than his dad, and maybe proving that he could be better than his dad. What he did at Ohio State, I could talk about Marvin Harrison Jr. for days because, of course, I do go to Ohio State. I do have to talk up the guys that I support going to school there. But, yeah, for when you're a legacy player, when you are a son of an athlete or a daughter of an athlete, it is harder for you, and you have to prove yourself in different ways. And for these guys, especially Charlie Woods, it's one thing to be Marvin Harrison's son. It's one thing to be Jerome McGinley's son because, of course, these are Hall of Fame guys, but they aren't Tiger Woods, right? Tiger Woods is, you can argue, and I say personally, he is the greatest golfer of all time. He definitely had the greatest peak in golf of all time. No questions asked. From 2000 to 2009 is the greatest golf anybody has ever played in history, bar none. So to be the son of that and to have those shoes to fill, man, it's difficult. And for Charlie Woods, that you're trying to do that. You're trying to fill those shoes. How can you? It's the problem I saw so much was I saw this, right? I saw Charlie Woods won the event. He was first in the event. Got into a USGA Junior Amateur event. Very impressive. That's something only a few guys can say that they did. And the first comment I opened up when I saw this post, I think it was on Instagram. I think it was like an ESPN post on Instagram. The first comment I saw was, he only shot 1 under? So? I mean, what does that matter? He only shot 1 under. First off, he won the event. Second off, he's shooting 1 over at 15 years old. I'm shooting 30 over at 20 years old. And I'm not Charlie Woods. I'm not ever going to claim to be nearly half the golfer of Charlie Woods. But golf is hard, man. It is a brutal sport. And I get if you're playing it from literal birth, as Charlie Woods basically was. It does, things just come naturally to you. You have the best coaches in the world looking after you as well. You have the best clubs out of anybody in any field you're going to go into. You are already he doesn't have sponsorships already, but he probably has sponsorships waiting for him when he does play in this event, because it would be a televised event, and he will be the most watched guy in the event. But for Charlie Woods, he has to earn it still, right? He had to go out and earn it. We're talking about him because he's a good golfer, because he has the potential to be a great golfer. And I just think that the narrative that the expectations for him are already way too high. That's what I want to say. He's not going to be his father. Nobody's going to be his father. This is like Wayne Gretzky's sons never played in the NHL, but if they were to, trying to compare it, like, when are they going to When are they going to have a 215-point season? Nobody's ever going to do that again. Nobody's going to... I won't say nobody because maybe somebody can. No, I'll say it. Nobody's going to win 82 events in 10 years again. And it wasn't 82 in 10 years, but it was like 70 in 10 years. Nobody's going to win 4 majors in a row. Nobody's these are things that we never thought were going to be possible, and then Tiger Woods came along and he held the world number 1 golf ranking for a decade straight, basically. And now there's the all the comparisons and stats of, well, to catch Tiger Woods' record at holding world golf ranking number 1, Scottie Scheffler would have to hold it until the year 2097. That's an exaggeration, of course, but I think it's like till 2030 something. He has to hold it straight, and then he would be able to get it. But these are unreasonable expectations for a 15-year-old kid. He went out and he won a USGA event, which is so difficult. He is the only one that shot in the red. Nobody knows how difficult that course could be. Maybe it is a very difficult course, and only PGA Tour pros can make it look like it's not. He had a great day, and you got to give your hats off to him. Now he's going to play in the USGA Junior Amateur event, where there are things up for grabs here. If you get into a US Amateur at 15 years old, man, that would be very, very impressive. The U.S. Junior Am will be July 22nd through the 27th at the Oakland Hills Country Club in Michigan. The U.S. Junior Amateur is one of 17 USGA championships being held throughout 2024. Another thing that Charlie Woods said in an interview after his round: it feels amazing to qualify for my first USGA championship. I'm excited to compete in the US Junior Amateur next month, especially somewhere as historic as Oakland Hills. Woods is one of 264 golfers who will play 2 rounds of stroke play at Oakland Hills on both courses there. This Oakland Hills Golf Club has hosted 6 U.S. Opens. It has hosted 3 PGA Championships. This is a professional golf course. This is one that these guys are going to get up for and very excited for to play on. And I can't wait to see a Charlie Woods who has so much potential, and really, I can't wait for him to get started on the PGA Tour, and that's 10 years out still. He's 15 years old. He won't be playing on the PGA Tour until probably 2030, and he's already got a name for himself. I'm excited for this young kid. Anybody that's trying to throw shade at him, I think just likes to, bash on people. I don't know. If his name wasn't Charlie Woods, everybody would be impressed with what the kid does. That's all I would say about it. If his name wasn't Charlie Woods, you would be impressed. So I'm excited to see what he's able to do. I'm excited, and he has so much support behind him. You hear the cliche in sports all the time, it takes a village, and it truly does. In a sport like golf, especially, you don't play golf unless you have a good foundation behind you, is what I'll say about that. And Charlie Woods has the best possible foundation behind him. So he won an event. Very impressed. And very impressed with such a young golfer. Excited to see what Charlie Woods is able to do with this opportunity. If he's able to go out in Michigan and shoot fantastic and able to claim a championship, work his way into a U.S. amateur event as well, would be so fun to watch. Can't wait to see it happen. But that'll wrap it up for our 4th segment of the night. When I get back from my 4th and final break of the night, we'll be talking about my picks and predictions for the Travelers Championship. Welcome back to the GSMC Golf Podcast presented by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Garrison McDaniel, and we have our fifth and final segment of the night talking about my picks and predictions for the Travelers Championship as day one got underway. Before day one, I did have a list of guys I wanted to talk about as my favorites, and most of them did play well. Looking at Scottie Scheffler was the top name on the list. He is only one. He is three back. Oh, I can't count. He is three back of Tom Kim at the top of the leaderboard. This is a golf course that has Scottie Scheffler written all over it. I lock it in now. I think he's the winner. I really just do. I think that this one is perfect for Scottie Scheffler. A lot of guys can definitely make it close, but plus 250 to win, I think that's horrible odds. Never bet a golf winner at anything under plus 400 is what I would say. But minus 190 for top 5 and minus 500 for top 10. All the betting odds that come out with Scottie Scheffler, it really puts into perspective how fantastic his run really is here in 2024. But other names that I had on my list include Ludwig Aubert, who had a fantastic day, shot 3 under, bogey-free card. He's plus 2,000 right now. He is 5 back of the lead, and I think that is one guy that maybe you could look at if you want a value pick right now that is a little bit cooled from their original projections. He's plus 2,000 to win this thing, and he is plus 330 to finish in the top 5 as well. Could be a very great day for Ludwig Aubert, or very great tournament for Ludwig Aubert. I think that he has been a breakout candidate for many tournaments now, and this one is definitely one that I can see him breaking out in. Other names I had were Patrick Cantlay, who is a little bit back on this leaderboard. Patrick Cantlay, where did he finish? Let's see if I can sift through the names very quick of this top 60 here. Patrick Cantlay is... And I'm just going to need to search up his name, aren't I? Patrick Cantlay finished 2 under at tied for 26th. He is tied with the likes of Victor Hovland and Justin Thomas as well in that tied for 26th. I think really, I don't know if one back can win. I really don't. I think that 20 under is going to be the winning score. So I don't think one back right now can win. Maybe 2 back can. I would say anybody 2 back on would be able to win this one. That is starting at Patrick Cantlay going all the way up to Tom Kim. For this tournament, it's just like, it's such an easy golf tournament that any of these top guys, like your Scottie Scheffler, like your Xander Schauffele, Will Zalatoris, Ricky Fowler, Akshay Bhatia, Tom Kim, can just go out and get 4 rounds straight of 65 or so, and is able to win this at around 20 under. And I think that is very realistic on a course like this. So anybody that's right now shot a 69, already 7 back of the lead, I think is a little bit scary. You're hoping that Tom Kim slips up and everybody else kind of has a bad day somewhere in there as well. I don't think that we see that. So I do not think that guys like Sepp Straka, Keegan Bradley, who's looking to defend, Jordan Spieth, who is even, guys like Max Homa, who's also even, Jason Day at 1 over, I think all are a little bit out of the feasible region to win, but a top 10 could definitely make sense for a lot of these guys as well. Never bet on Jordan Spieth. This is one that this is my free advice that I will always give you guys. Jordan Spieth will never live up to his betting lines, and it looks like they finally dropped his lines. He's plus 25,000, plus 3,000, plus 9,000 in the 3 slashing. He's right there around everybody else that doesn't have a shot, which is good for Jordan Spieth. He has been so disappointing as of late, and that's all I can say about that. I did a whole segment on how disappointing Jordan Spieth can be. But for this Travelers Championship, it's guys that are accurate, who I'm looking at most. I would have thought Shane Lowry would be very great in this tournament, but he has not played very well. Maybe a guy like Sepp Straka I also would think would do very well. But You do have guys like Will Zalatoris, who's at the top of the leaderboard. You have guys like Scotty Scheffler at the top of the leaderboard. Very accurate with your irons. Very great all around. Xander Schauffele, who is a fantastic all around player as well. It's the guys that you kind of expect being at the top of these of the leaderboard here. For Will Zalatoris, being at the top of the leaderboard, really this season has been standing out with his approach shots, approaching the green. But we've seen historically how fantastic he can be off the tee with his accuracy and around the green as well. But his irons have been fantastic this season, and that is why, he is where he is at in this tournament especially. For my winners, I would say, first off, let's go with the value picks down the board that I'm seeing. I see Wyndham Clark at plus 5,000 to win this one. He's 4 under. Yeah, he's 4 under, so he's 4 back, but he's only 2 back of that pack at 6 under. I think he is a very plausible chance at winning. A plus 750 top 5 also could make sense for a Wyndham Clark. I think he can definitely put his name or his hat in the ring here and put his name in contention to win this Travelers Championship. He's always really good on difficult golf course, and he's one of the best putters on tour. What did I say you had to avoid at the Travelers Championship here? It's those 2 putts, man. They really add up and they really come at you. And if he is able to avoid that, it would look very good for a Wyndham Clark. Wyndham Clark. Other guys, so that's probably my value pick, a plus 5,000. Other guys, I see Justin Thomas plus 400 for a top 10. I want to bet against that. I kind of like that one as well. Victor Hovland at plus. Actually, I don't like Victor Hovland too much. Maybe plus 4,000 to win. As that 2 under guy, he proves that he's good on signature events last year, so he could definitely do a job here. But as for the win, I'm really just looking at Scotty Scheffler plus 250. I'm looking at Wyndham Clark plus 4,000. Maybe this is the tournament that Will Zalatoris really breaks through in 2024. He is plus 2,000. I wouldn't mind putting a tenth of a unit on that to return 2 units. That wouldn't be too bad of a return on investment. Cannot speak. But yeah, it's Scotty Scheffler's tournament to win or to lose, and the betting lines kind of back that up. My brain backs that up. Everything I say backs that up. You need great iron shots. You need to be good around the green, and you need to be accurate in the fairways, or accurate to the fairways off the tee. That's Scotty Scheffler in a nutshell. So for my picks and predictions, I would say Scotty Scheffler would finish first in this tournament. Let's just go top 5. I haven't given you guys a top 5 for a tournament yet. We'll see how wildly inaccurate I am. Scotty Scheffler, number 1. I would say he wins this one. Gets his 4th out of 8 signature events. We talk about this being one of the greater seasons in PGA Tour history, especially if he's able to go out and win an Open Championship. That would look like probably one of the best seasons in Tour history, barring Tiger Woods. So Scotty Scheffler, number 1. Number 2, I might say Louis Gobert. I really like his game. I always have him at the top of the leaderboards. Last week, he almost proved me right. But it wasn't to be. This week he can do so and make up for last week. Hopefully, maybe he's able to. You also have, so I have Scotty Scheffler, Louis Gobert. Let's go. Number 3 will be Xander Schauffele. It would be my 3rd in the leaderboard. I think he 3 strokes back of the lead right now. I think he has a fantastic golf game going into this tournament. Plays really well in difficult courses, although this isn't too much of a difficult course, but it is a feature event or a signature event, so a course that these guys are looking to play well on. Number 4, I'll go with the 18-hole leader, Tom Kim. And then to round out my top 5, I'm going to say who's going to be the one that tries to make a charge. I'll say Wyndham Clark. I'll say Wyndham Clark 5th there. So I have Scotty Scheffler, Louis Gobert, Scotty Scheffler, Louis Gobert, it was Xander Schauffele, Tom Kim, and then Wyndham Clark rounds out the top 5 of my picks and predictions for the Travelers Championship in this 8th and final signature event. I'm excited to see how this weekend plays out. Excited to see what happens throughout this Travelers Championship and who is able to get a share of that $20 million purse, the largest share of that purse. I believe it's $4 million up for grabs. That's a lot of money. That is a lot of money. And 700 FedEx Cup points. Very important for this season and very important looking into the future events for next season as well. But that'll wrap it up for this GSMC Golf Podcast. Thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate all the support that I've been getting as of late. It has really meant the world to me. If you guys want to help support the show more ways than you already do, you can go ahead and like and subscribe to the show. It is much appreciated. As well, you could follow us on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook to keep up with the latest in sports at the GSMC Podcast Network. Thank you all once again for all your support and everything that you do for the GSMC Sports Network. And all of you have a wonderful evening and wonderful night. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.